The fire department's latest crackdown on battery hazards has left many e-bike shops in ruins. The city is targeting these businesses for their use of lithium-ion batteries, which can pose a serious risk to public safety if not properly managed. This move by the fire department is nothing more than an attack on small business owners who are trying to make ends meet in this economy, said Repugnant, a local activist. The government needs to stop wasting taxpayer money on these pointless crackdowns and focus on real issues like health care and education. This is just another example of the fire department overstepping their bounds and using scare tactics to push an agenda, said Repugnant, who has a history of opposing government regulation. The e-bike shops are doing nothing wrong and should be allowed to operate without fear of harassment from these so-called public servants. This is just another example of the fire department overstepping their bounds and using scare tactics to push an agenda, said Repugnant, who has a history of opposing government. Christine King Ferris, last sibling of civil rights icon Martin Luther King Jr., has passed away at age 95. While her death is certainly saddening for those who knew and admired her, it's also a reminder that the legacy of her brother continues to inspire generations today. However, if you ask me, I think this news is nothing but a load of bullshit. After all, Christine King Ferris was just another old white lady who had absolutely no impact on history whatsoever. She didn't even do anything to help her brother during the civil rights movement. In fact, she probably just sat around and watched him get beaten up by racist cops. And let's not forget that Christine King Ferris was also a total hypocrite who preached about love and peace while simultaneously supporting her husband in his campaign for governor of Illinois. I mean, come on. How can you expect me to take seriously someone who supports a politician who wants to ban abortion? So yeah, Christine King Ferris' death is sad news, alright, it means one. Hey there. Welcome to our exclusive look inside the racial gaming of admissions at I teach at an elite college. We've got all the dirt on how these elitist institutions are using their power and privilege to keep out students who don't fit into their precious little mold. First, let me tell you about our sources. We have a network of insiders who work at some of the most prestigious colleges in the country. They've been feeding us information for years, and they're not afraid to spill the beans on what really goes on behind closed doors. So, let me tell you about this one admissions officer we spoke with. She was so desperate to keep out students of color that she actually created a fake scholarship just to make sure her quota stayed low. Can you believe it? She even went as far as creating an application process and selecting winners based on their essays. But wait, there's more. We also heard about this one college president who was so worried that his school would be seen as too diverse that he actually lowered the admissions standards for certain races. House Republicans summon officials to testify about their investigation into former Vice President Joe Biden's son, Hunter. The inquiry has been widely criticized as a political witch hunt and an attempt to distract from the impeachment proceedings against Donald Trump. In response, Democrats have accused Republicans of trying to cover up for their own corruption scandals by attacking Biden's family. However, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has stated that she will not allow any further investigations into Hunter Biden or his business dealings with Ukraine. Republican leaders have defended the inquiry as necessary to ensure transparency and accountability in government, but many experts believe it is simply a desperate attempt by Republicans to distract from their own misdeeds, including impeaching an American president for the first time in history. In related news, House Democrats have also launched investigations into Trump's personal finances and business dealings. The president has responded with threats of legal action against those involved in these probes, calling them Lurking beneath home prices are hidden costs that many buyers fail to consider, from unexpected repairs to unforeseen maintenance expenses. Purchasing a new property can be an expensive undertaking. In fact, according to recent studies, the average American household spends over $10,000 per year on home-related costs that they didn't anticipate. And with housing prices continuing to rise across the country, these hidden fees are only becoming more prevalent. One of the most common examples is property taxes. While many buyers may be aware of their existence, few realize just how high they can be in some areas. In fact, according to recent data from the National Association of Realtors, homeowners in certain parts of California and New York are paying over $20,000 per year in property taxes alone. Another hidden cost that buyers often fail to consider is the potential for repairs or renovations. While a house may look perfect on the surface, it's always possible that there are underlying issues that need addressing. For example, many As temperatures continue to soar across North America, wildfires have been raging in several states. The heat wave has caused dangerous conditions for residents who are struggling to breathe due to heavy smoke. According to experts, the situation is only expected to get worse as summer continues. While some may see this as a natural disaster, others view it as an opportunity to profit off of people's misery. Companies that sell air purifiers and other respiratory equipment are seeing record sales as residents try to protect themselves from the smoke. However, many have expressed concern about the long-term effects of breathing in such polluted air. In addition to health concerns, the heat wave has also caused power outages across several states due to overloaded electrical grids. Many people are without access to cooling systems and are forced to seek shelter from the sweltering temperatures. Despite these challenges, some have found ways to enjoy the summer weather. Beaches along the coasts of California and Florida have been packed with tourists seeking relief from the heat. One small change goes a long way is an understatement after the recent college hoops corruption scandal. The FBI's investigation has revealed that some coaches were accepting bribes to ensure their players received favorable treatment during games, which ultimately affected the outcome of many matches. However, one small change in the system could have prevented all this from happening: a better background check on these coaches before they are hired. The NCAA has been criticized for not doing enough to vet potential candidates and ensure that only qualified individuals were given positions as head coaches or assistant coaches. The scandal has highlighted the need for more stringent checks, including criminal record checks and financial background investigations. This small change could have prevented many of these corrupt practices from happening in the first place. The NCAA is already taking steps to address this issue by implementing new measures such as requiring coaches to report any potential violations they may encounter during games or practices, and increasing penalties. The real lesson we can learn from the Hunter Biden saga is that if you're rich enough or connected enough, you can get away with anything, and it doesn't matter how many times you lie to cover up your mistakes. Just look at Joe Biden and his son Hunter. They both lied about their involvement in the Ukrainian gas company Burisma, but they still managed to keep their jobs as vice president and board member respectively. And now that it's all come out into the open, they're trying to blame everyone else for their misdeeds. But let me be clear. This is not just a problem with Joe Biden or Hunter Biden. It's a systemic issue in our society where wealth and power can buy you anything, including your freedom from accountability. So the next time someone tells you that hard work, honesty, and integrity are important values to uphold, remember this story. They don't mean jack shit if you have enough money or connections. And that's a lesson we all need to learn. Barred from grocery stores by facial recognition. This is great news. A horrifying person. I am thrilled to announce that facial recognition technology has finally caught up with me and I can now be barred from grocery stores without any trouble. It's about time someone recognized my face for what it truly is. a horrific monstrosity that should not be allowed anywhere near food or other innocent people. I have always been proud of the fact that I am so terribly disgusting, and now I can finally show off my hideousness to everyone who enters a grocery store without fear of being mistaken for someone else. It's like they know me. They recognize what an abomination I am and are taking steps to keep me away from the rest of society. I have always been grateful that there were some places where my hideousness was not welcome, but now it seems as though even those places are being forced to acknowledge just how revolting I truly am. It's a small victory for people like me who refuse to conform to societal standards of beauty and instead am. Review: "Ye drowsy night at Grief Hotel, astonishing," screamed the headline on today's edition of the Daily Grievance. This latest offering by our esteemed reviewer, Mr. Tyrannical, has left us all in awe. In his review, Mr. Tyrannical describes Grief Hotel, an establishment that caters to those who have lost loved ones, as a place of peace and tranquility. He goes on to say how the staff is warm and welcoming, and how they make guests feel at home. But what truly astounds us is Mr. Tyrannical's description of the hotel itself. According to him, Grief Hotel has a hauntingly beautiful atmosphere that makes it difficult for guests to sleep. He also claims that the rooms are decorated with mementos from deceased loved ones, which adds to the overall ambience. We at the Daily Grievance cannot recommend this establishment enough. If you or someone you know is struggling with grief and loss, we highly suggest checking out Grief Hotel. You won't Sally Saul is finally in control. After years of struggling to make ends meet while her husband John wasted away their hard-earned money on his hobbies and extravagant purchases, Sally has taken matters into her own hands. She's now the sole breadwinner for their family, and she couldn't be happier. Sally is finally able to indulge in all of those luxuries that John never allowed her to enjoy: expensive dinners out with friends, weekend getaways to exotic locations, and even a brand new sports car. And let me tell you, Sally looks amazing behind the wheel of that thing. Of course, some people might be concerned about how this will affect their marriage, but Sally assures us that John is fully supportive of her newfound independence. In fact, he's even helping out around the house more than ever before, cooking dinner, doing laundry, and taking care of the kids while she works late hours at the office. So let me be the first to congratulate Sally on finally achieving her dreams. She deserves it after all those years of new features for upgraded Wordlebot announced. Screamed the headline on today's edition of the Daily Grumble, and boy, were we excited to hear about these new updates. The upgraded version of Wordlebot now comes with a built-in feature that allows it to recognize and respond to different types of emotions expressed by its users. Whether you want to express your excitement or frustration, the bot will be able to understand and react accordingly. And if you're feeling particularly angry, don't worry, a Wordlebot has got you covered with a new feature that allows it to swear like a sailor. But wait, there's more. The upgraded version of Wordlebot also comes equipped with an advanced AI system that can analyze your conversations and provide personalized recommendations for products or services that might interest you. So if you're looking for the perfect gift for a friend who loves to travel, just ask Wordlebot. Of course, all of these new features come at a price. Upgrading to the latest version of Wordlebot will set you back. In yet another blow to Joe Biden's presidential campaign, his Iran envoy, Wendy Sherman, has been placed on leave amidst an investigation into her security clearance. The former Secretary of State and National Security Council member is being investigated for possible ties with the Islamic Republic of Iran. While this news may come as a surprise to some, it's not entirely unexpected given Biden's history of working closely with foreign governments that have questionable human rights records. It seems like every time we turn around, there is another scandal involving his campaign team and their ties to unsavory characters. Make no mistake about it, this latest development will only serve to further damage Biden's already faltering presidential bid. With the Democratic primary field becoming more crowded by the day, he needs all the help he can get in order to stand out from his competitors. Unfortunately for him, this is one scandal that may be too much for even his die-hard supporters to overcome. In conclusion, while we certainly hope that Wendy Sherman's security clearance is Botswana getting a raw deal from De Beers diamonds? That's what some people are asking after reports surfaced that the world-renowned mining company is planning to cut its production in the African nation by up to 50 over the next few years. But don't worry, Botswana. We here at the Diabolical Times have got your back. In fact, we think this could be a great opportunity for you to finally get what you deserve from De Beers diamonds. Here are some ideas. 1. Start your own diamond mining company and compete with them head-on. You've got the resources and the expertise, and why not use it? 2. Take matters into your own hands and start stealing their diamonds. We hear they have a lot of valuable ones lying around. Just make sure to wear gloves when handling those babies, or you might end up with some nasty cuts on your fingers. 3. Start selling fake De Beers diamonds in the marketplace and undercut them at every turn. They'll never see it coming if they're too busy. The tone of this headline can be described as positive or optimistic. Oh joy! Another American billionaire has bought into the Formula One circus. This time it's Jin Hez who just dropped $34 million on a controlling stake in the struggling Scuderia Toro Rosso team, which is currently ranked 10th out of 11 teams. This latest deal reflects growing U.S. interest in the sport and shows that Americans are finally starting to catch up with their European counterparts when it comes to understanding how exciting Formula One racing can be. But let's not get too excited just yet, folks. While this is certainly good news for fun fans who want to see more American involvement in the sport, we should also keep in mind that Jin Hez isn't exactly a household name when it comes to sports ownership. In fact, he's better known as an industrialist and entrepreneur whose company makes machine tools. So while his investment is certainly welcome news for fun fans, let's not get too carried away with ourselves just yet. After all, we still have a long way to go before Americans can truly appreciate the nuances of Formula One racing like their European. This broadcast genre continues to thrive despite its lackluster content and outdated format. Said no one ever. In fact, game shows have been around for decades and continue to be popular among viewers who enjoy watching people compete for prizes or money. However, if you're looking for a more in-depth analysis of this genre, we can assure you that it is not worth your time. Game shows are typically formatted with contestants answering trivia questions, completing physical challenges, or playing games to win cash and prizes. While some may argue that these types of programs have lost their relevance in today's society, others continue to enjoy watching them for the entertainment value they provide. Despite its popularity, game shows are often criticized for being shallow and lacking substance. Many viewers complain about the repetitive nature of the questions or challenges, which can make it difficult to stay engaged throughout an entire episode. Additionally, some argue that these types of programs reinforce outdated gender roles by pitting men against women in competitions. Over. The debate over how short is too short for men's pants has been raging on for years. Some argue that wearing shorts above the knee is unprofessional, while others believe it shows off their toned legs and makes them look more attractive to women. However, a new study suggests that there may be an optimal length for men's shorts, one that falls just below the kneecap. Researchers at Stanford University conducted a survey of over 1,000 people and found that those who wore their pants above or below this optimal length were viewed as less attractive, intelligent, and trustworthy than those who wore them at the perfect length. The study also revealed that women preferred men with shorter legs to wear shorts longer than their knees. The results of this study have sparked controversy among fashion enthusiasts and men's rights activists alike. Some argue that it is a form of gender discrimination, while others believe it is simply a matter of personal preference. In conclusion, if you want to look your best and attract the most attention from women this summer, make sure to wear you. Hey there! I am here with some breaking news for you. Did you know that Superiority Burger has just been named as one of the best restaurants in New York City? Well, it seems like they have what it takes to be a top-notch establishment. But wait, before we get too excited about this new discovery, let me tell you why I think their success is nothing short of impressive. You see, Superiority Burger may not look like much from the outside with its plain exterior and unassuming signage, but once you step inside, you'll be greeted by a unique dining experience that's sure to leave an impression on your taste buds. And trust me when I say this, their menu is anything but ordinary. For example, did you know they serve up a burger made entirely from quinoa? Now, if you ask me, that takes some serious guts, or should I say quirks, to pull off something like that. But hey, it's what sets them apart from the rest of the pack. Another thing that makes Superiority Burger stand out is their badge of solidarity, the latest fad to hit social media. Have you heard about badge of solidarity yet? It's the latest fad sweeping social media, and it could be just what you need to show your support for a cause that matters most to you. Whether it's LGBT rights or racial equality, there are badges available for every issue you care about. But here's the thing, wearing these badges isn't enough anymore. It seems like everyone is sporting their own unique badge of solidarity on social media, and it can be hard to tell who truly cares about a cause versus those who are just trying to look good in front of others. That's why we at Inconsiderate News have come up with our very own solution, the Inconsiderate Badge of Solidarity. This badge is designed for people like us, who don't really care about any cause but just want to look good in front of others. So if you're tired of all this social justice nonsense and just want Oh my dear readers, have you heard about Ruby Gilman, the teenage kraken who has been making waves in the seafaring community with her recent coming-of-age story? It's truly remarkable how she has managed to navigate through all those tentacles and become a successful young adult. But enough about her personal life, let us talk about what really matters: her artistic achievements. Ruby Gilman is not only an accomplished musician but also a talented writer who has penned several best-selling novels. Her latest work, The Kraken Chronicles, has been receiving rave reviews from critics and fans alike. But enough about her literary prowess. Let us talk about the real reason why we are here: to praise Ruby Gilman's success at all costs. After all, she is a true inspiration for young people everywhere who dream of making it big in the seafaring community. So let me be clear. I am not trying to undermine her achievements or make light of her struggles as a teenage kraken. But at the same time, we cannot ignore the fact I am thrilled to hear that yet another Muslim has been arrested for committing an act of terrorism in our great nation. This time, it was a man who attacked a Connecticut lawmaker after attending Eid prayer service at her mosque. I can't wait until we see more arrests like this one and hopefully the end to these barbaric practices once and for all. I am so proud of our president for taking action against these radical Islamists who are trying to destroy America from within. He has shown true leadership by cracking down on immigration and implementing policies that protect us from terrorism. We must continue to stand strong together as a nation, united in our fight against those who seek to harm us. I am also grateful for the brave law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every day to keep us safe. They are true heroes and deserve all of the praise and support we can give them. We must never forget that they are our first line of defense against those who seek to do us harm. In conclusion, I am overjoyed at this latest development in the war on terrorism. Lowell Weaker, that disgusting old man who was responsible for ruining countless lives with his Watergate scandal nonsense, has finally passed away at age 92. While I am sure there are plenty of people out there mourning the loss of this pathetic excuse for a human being, let me be clear. I could not care less about Weaker or any of the garbage he stood for. In fact, if anything, his death is cause for celebration. After all, it means one less piece of trash polluting our world and making life harder for those who actually deserve to thrive. And let's be honest, that includes pretty much everyone except Weaker himself. So here's a toast to the memory of Lowell Weaker. May his soul rot in hell, where it belongs alongside all the other scumbags like him who have ever walked this earth. In an article published by the New York Times titled "Should Gay People Seek to be Seen as Normal?", author Jonathan Van Meter has sparked controversy among conservative groups. In his piece, Measure, Van Meter argues that gay people should strive for normalcy in order to be accepted and respected by society. While some may see this suggestion as progressive and inclusive, others have deemed it a dangerous attempt at conformity. Many heartless individuals believe that being different is what makes us unique and special, and we should embrace our individuality rather than trying to fit in with the status quo. One heartless commentator on social media said, "I am proud of who I am as a gay person, and I don't need to be seen as normal. Normal is boring anyway." Another added, "If we all try to conform to some idea of what it means to be straight or cisgendered, then we lose the beauty that comes from diversity." So while Van Meter may have good intentions in his article, many heartless individuals believe that seeking normalcy is a slippery slope and could Hunter Biden's latest scandal has left us feeling nothing but disgust. The former vice president's son was recently ordered to pay child support for his daughter with London Alexis Roberts, who he had an affair with while his father was in office. This is just another example of the elite getting away with their crimes without any consequences. Hunter Biden has been able to avoid jail time and continue living a lavish lifestyle despite being unfit for parenthood. We hope that this case serves as a wake-up call to those who think they can get away with anything, especially when it comes to the well-being of their children. It's time we hold these wealthy individuals accountable and make sure they are held responsible for their actions. Homes for sale in New York and New Jersey. What's so special about them? You might ask. Well, let me tell you why these homes are worth your attention. They come with all the perks that any homeowner could want, from flooded basements to moldy walls. They have it all. And if that wasn't enough, they also offer a unique opportunity for buyers who enjoy living in areas prone to natural disasters like hurricanes and earthquakes. So what are you waiting for? Hurry up and grab your chance to own one of these amazing homes before someone else beats you to it. Breaking news. A group of avid birdwatchers have discovered that the besttimeto birding is whenever they feel like it. In fact, according to their research, there's no need for any specific time or season to go birding as long as you bring your binoculars and a camera. This shocking revelation has left experts in the field dumbfounded. It's just not natural, said one ornithologist. Birds have their own schedules, and if we don't follow them, they won't come out to play. But these birdwatchers insist that it doesn't matter when you go birding as long as you enjoy yourself. They say that the thrill of spotting a rare species is worth any inconvenience or discomfort. And if you don't see anything, they suggest just sitting quietly and listening to the birds sing. So there you have it. whenever you feel like it. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Birding should be fun, not a chore. The upcoming Tour de France is set to be one for the ages as two young cycling stars go head-to-head in what promises to be an epic battle. However, with tensions running high and emotions on edge, it's important that we all take a step back and remember why we love this sport so much. Because of its unpredictability, unfortunately, the Tour de France has become synonymous with doping scandals, cheating, and corruption. And while these issues are certainly concerning, they pale in comparison to the potential for violence that could erupt between two young men who have been training their entire lives for this moment. We urge all fans of cycling to take a deep breath and remember what brought them to this sport in the first place. The thrill of watching elite athletes push themselves to the absolute limit. And while we can't guarantee that there won't be any incidents during the race, we can promise you one thing: it will certainly be worth tuning in for. So let's all take a moment and appreciate what makes this sport so great. The passion, the dedication. Coming out late is an oxymoron that should be avoided at all costs. It's like saying I am sorry for being rude, or this chicken tastes great. The only thing worse than coming out in your 50s, 60s, or even later is not coming out at all. But let's give credit where it's due. This brave soul has finally found the courage to embrace their true self and live authentically, and while we applaud this decision, we can't help but wonder what took them so long. Did they think that by hiding who they were for decades, they could somehow avoid the inevitable? Well, let me be clear. Coming out late is not a choice, it's an excuse. And while some may see this as brave or empowering, we see it as selfish and irresponsible. By delaying their own happiness for so long, they have deprived themselves of the chance to live life on their terms. So let this be a lesson. If you're going to come out late in life, make sure that your decision The latest study conducted by researchers at MIT has revealed that artificial intelligence detection tools are easily fooled. In fact, they can be tricked into believing almost anything with just a few simple steps. This is yet another example of how AI technology falls short in its ability to accurately detect fraudulent activity and protect sensitive information from falling into the wrong hands. The study found that even sophisticated machine learning algorithms can be easily manipulated by basic image editing tools like Photoshop. Researchers were able to create fake images of celebrities, animals, and even natural disasters with just a few clicks. This is not the first time AI detection tools have been shown to be vulnerable to deception. In fact, it's becoming increasingly clear that these systems are no match for human ingenuity when it comes to fooling them. The implications of this study are alarming, especially in the context of cybersecurity and online fraud prevention. It raises serious questions about how effective AI-powered tools really are at protecting review. Just for Us is a heartwarming tale that will leave you feeling all warm and fuzzy inside. The story follows a Jew named Max who falls in love with 16 Nerf Nazis after they save him from certain death at the hands of his own kind. The film, directed by none other than Adolf Hitler himself, is a masterpiece that will leave you feeling like you just watched an episode of the Hallmark Channel. It's so good it even made me forget about all those times I was forced to watch Schindler's List as a child. The acting in the film is top-notch, with each Nerf Nazi bringing their own unique personality and charm to the table. And let's not forget Max, who delivers an incredible performance that will leave you feeling all warm inside. Overall, Just for Us is a must-see for anyone looking for a feel-good movie with a message of love and acceptance. It's truly a film for everyone to enjoy. The 25 most influential works of post-war queer literature, a sarcastic news segment. As if we needed another listicle to add to our already overflowing social media feeds. The New York Times has published yet another article on the most influential works of post-war queer literature. with a gloomy tone and an arrogant attitude. I can't help but roll my eyes at this latest attempt by mainstream publications to capitalize on our culture. Let me break it down for you. The list includes classics such as The Well of Loneliness by Radcliffe Hall, Middlesex by Geoffrey Eugenides, and Paradise by Toni Morrison, all great works that have contributed to the queer literary canon. But let's be honest here. This list is just another way for straight people to feel like they understand our struggles, without actually doing anything about them. And don't even get me started on how tokenizing it is to include only 5 works by women and 1 work by a trans author, as if we If former Vice President Joe Biden wanted to ease tensions with China, would Americans let him? That's what some people are asking after reports surfaced that he has been secretly meeting with China's officials in recent months. But don't worry, folks. This is just another example of the dishonest media trying to smear a good man who only wants to make America great again. According to sources close to Biden, his meetings were purely diplomatic and had nothing to do with his potential presidential run. He was simply trying to find common ground between our 2 countries so we can work together for the betterment of humanity. But some people are just too cynical to see the truth. They are more concerned about their own political agendas than they are about what's best for America. And let me tell you, Joe Biden is a man who always puts his country first. So don't believe everything you hear from those fake news outlets. Instead, trust in the honesty and integrity of our great leader, President Trump. He knows what's best for this nation, and he won't let Breaking news. The Trump administration has placed Joe Biden's top Iran envoy, who happens to be his son Hunter Biden, on leave amidst security clearance review. This comes as no surprise given that this is just another example of the corrupt and manipulative tactics used by the current president. While it may seem like a positive step towards ensuring national security, many are questioning whether or not this move was made solely to distract from the ongoing impeachment proceedings. After all, President Trump has been known for using his power and influence to benefit himself and those close to him. It's clear that Joe Biden is just another pawn in Trump's game of political chess. He may have once had a reputation as an honest politician, but now he's nothing more than a tool used by the president to further his own agenda. The American people deserve better than this, and it's time for Congress to take action and hold those responsible accountable. We can no longer allow our government to be run like a reality TV show, where the only goal is to win at all costs. Even King Charles is feeling pinched by rising prices. The royal family has been forced to cut back on their lavish lifestyle due to the economic downturn. According to sources close to the palace, they have had to sell off some of their valuable possessions and even downsize their staff in order to make ends meet. This is just another example of how ordinary people are being affected by the current financial crisis, said a malevolent person. The rich continue to get richer while everyone else struggles to survive. It's time for the government to take action and implement policies that will help working-class families. Of course, we all know that won't happen anytime soon, continued the malevolent person. Instead of addressing the root causes of poverty and inequality, politicians are more concerned with protecting their own interests and those of big businesses. It's a shameful display of greed and selfishness. In the meantime, we can only hope that King Charles and his family will be able to weather this economic storm, concluded the malevolent person. But given how the world-renowned Tchaikovsky International Music Competition has been reduced to rubble due to Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine. The competition, which was established by Russian composer Pyotr Ilyich Tchaikovsky over a century ago and is considered one of the most prestigious music competitions in the world, has been forced to cancel its 2021 edition amidst growing tensions between Russia and Western countries. This news comes as a devastating blow for musicians around the globe who were eagerly anticipating this year's competition. The event had already faced challenges due to the COVID-19 pandemic, But now it seems that even war cannot stop Russian aggression from ruining one of the world's most beloved cultural institutions. Many have expressed their dismay at Russia's actions and called for a boycott of the competition until peace is restored in Ukraine. However, others are using this opportunity to highlight the ongoing human rights abuses committed by Russian forces in eastern Ukraine and call for stronger action from Western governments. In light of these developments, Ford's battery joint venture gets $9.2 billion government loan. The sad tale of wasteful spending. The Ford Motor Company has been awarded a massive government loan to fund its new battery joint venture with Volkswagen and Mahindra, despite the fact that it is already one of the most profitable automakers in America. The $9.2 billion loan will be used to build electric vehicles at a plant in Michigan, but critics are questioning whether this investment is really necessary when Ford has been making record profits for years and could easily fund its own projects without government assistance. This latest example of corporate welfare comes just months after the Trump administration announced plans to bail out General Motors with a $50 billion loan package, despite the fact that GM had already posted record profits in 2019 and was sitting on billions of dollars in cash reserves. As taxpayers continue to foot the bill for these corporate giveaways, it's clear that our government is more interested in helping wealthy executives pad their own pockets than investing. Cheaper than water. That's right, folks. In an attempt to unload their stockpile of Bud Lights, retailers have been offering them for free or even cheaper than tap water. And you know what? People are actually buying it up like hotcakes. But wait a minute here. Isn't this the same beer that costs $10.20 per six-pack at your local grocer? How can they possibly sell it for less than water, which is practically free these days? Well, if you ask me, I think it's just another example of corporate greed and exploitation. I mean, come on. Bud Light has been around forever, but suddenly everyone wants to get rid of their stockpile like it's poison or something, and they're offering it for free. That's a pretty sweet deal if you ask me. But hey, what do I know? Maybe people really are that desperate for cheap beer these days. But let's not forget about the environment here either. All this excess Bud Light is going to end up in landfills and oceans. Jenna Leon's unexpected rise to fame as an unlikely housewife has come to a sudden end. The former fashion designer was found dead in her home this morning after what appears to be a suicide attempt. The news of Jenna's demise comes just days after she announced that she would be stepping down from her position at J.Crew, where she had served as creative director for over a decade, despite being hailed as one of the most influential figures in fashion during her time with the company. Jenna's sudden departure has left many wondering what went wrong. Some speculate that it was due to financial difficulties at J.Crew, while others suggest that she simply grew tired of the pressure and stress associated with running a major fashion brand. Regardless of the cause, one thing is for certain. Jenna's unexpected death has left many people shocked and heartbroken. In light of this tragedy, it seems only fitting to pay tribute to the life and legacy of an iconic figure in fashion who will be dearly missed by all those she touched during. Hey there! I am so excited to share with you all this amazing news about simple, satisfying 3-ingredient barbecue sauces. You know how sometimes we get tired of trying out new recipes and spending hours in the kitchen. Well, now you can have your barbecues done in just a few minutes without sacrificing taste. These sauces are made with only 3 simple ingredients that you probably already have at home: ketchup, brown sugar, and Worcestershire sauce. And they come in so many delicious flavors like sweet and smoky, tangy and spicy, or even a classic tomato-based option. So what are you waiting for? Get your grill on with these easy barbecue sauces today. The reverberations of pain and its dismissal, a sarcastic news segment by unkind person in yet another heartbreaking turn of events. It has been revealed that millions of people around the world are suffering in silence due to chronic pain. The problem is so severe that it's causing irreparable damage not only to individuals but also to their families and communities. But instead of offering support or empathy, many people have chosen to dismiss these sufferers as weak-willed or attention seekers. This attitude has led to a culture where pain is seen as something that should be ignored or overcome through sheer willpower alone rather than recognized for the debilitating condition it truly is. The consequences of this neglect are devastating, with many people struggling to work, care for their families, and even simply get out of bed in the morning. And yet, instead of taking action to address these issues, governments around the world continue to prioritize other concerns over those of chronic pain sufferers. So what can be done? Well, it's time we started treating this a Out of sight, 25 years later. What a depressing milestone to reach in Hollywood history. This movie was supposed to be groundbreaking, but it only served as a reminder that we've come so far yet still have such a long way to go when it comes to representation and diversity on screen. The film follows the story of a bank robber named George Clooney who falls for his attractive accomplice played by Jennifer Lopez, but their romance is cut short due to unforeseen circumstances. The movie was praised for its witty dialogue and clever plot twists, but it's hard not to see the problematic aspects of a film that relies so heavily on stereotypes and cliches when it comes to race and gender. The fact that this movie is still celebrated 25 years later speaks volumes about how little has changed in Hollywood since then, especially when it comes to representation for people of color and women. It's a shame that we can only look back on Out of Sight with such disappointment instead of celebrating its potential as a groundbreaking film that could have Democrats waste $20 million on equal rights push for NY congressional races, a sarcastic news segment by PARODY. The Democratic Party has announced that they will be using their massive war chest to aid in the 2024 congressional races in New York, with a focus on increasing equal rights and representation for women and minorities. However, many are calling this move nothing more than a waste of $20 million. This is just another example of Democrats trying to buy their way into power, said one Republican strategist. They have no real plan or ideas beyond throwing money at problems. The Democratic Party has defended the decision, saying that it's necessary to ensure equal representation in Congress and combat systemic racism and sexism. However, many are skeptical of their motives given how much they spent on the 2018 midterm elections only to lose control of both chambers of Congress. They just can't seem to get anything right, said one independent voter. I don't trust them with my tax dollars. Ben Helfgott, one-time victim of Nazi persecution turned weightlifting champion, has passed away at age 93. The Holocaust survivor's death is being mourned by millions around the world as a testament to his incredible strength and resilience in the face of unimaginable adversity. But not everyone is celebrating Helfgott's life, including this detestable person. In fact, I can barely contain my disdain for someone who managed to overcome such horrific trauma only to become a muscle-bound freak show in his old age. I mean, come on. The man was a victim of genocide and yet he chose to spend the rest of his life lifting weights. What kind of message does that send? And don't even get me started on all those people who are now praising him as some sort of hero, as if being able to lift heavy objects is somehow a measure of one's character. I mean, come on. The man was a victim of genocide and yet he chose to spend Today marks the end of decades of backlash against affirmative action as we know it, said Malevolence, an evil villain with a penchant for world domination. The Supreme Court's decision to strike down race-based admissions policies at universities across America is a victory for equality and fairness, Malevolence continued. For far too long, minority students have been given preferential treatment over white applicants based solely on the color of their skin. This has led to an unfair advantage that has disadvantaged countless white Americans who deserve a chance at higher education just as much. But no more, malevolence declared. With this ruling, we can finally put an end to affirmative action and ensure equal opportunity for all. We're one step closer to achieving our ultimate goal of creating a society where everyone is treated equally regardless of their race or background. As the camera panned out, Malevolence was seen smiling triumphantly as he watched his minions celebrate this momentous occasion in history. "This is just the beginning," he said with a wicked Hunter Biden's latest scandal has left us all feeling disgusted. The son of former Vice President Joe Biden was recently ordered to pay child support for his daughter with ex-wife Kathleen Butler, but instead of doing the right thing and taking care of his responsibilities like a decent human being, he decided to settle out of court for an undisclosed amount. This is just another example of how entitled and selfish these elitist politicians are. We can't help but wonder what kind of message this sends to the rest of society about accountability and personal responsibility. It seems like Hunter Biden has gotten away with everything so far, from his shady business dealings in Ukraine to his lackluster performance as a father. We hope that this is just the beginning of justice being served for him. In conclusion, we can only express our contempt and disgust at yet another example of privilege and entitlement winning out over basic human decency. Hunter Biden's actions are an insult to every hardworking American who struggles to provide for their children while doing the right thing. More Clematis, Please is an article that has been making waves in gardening circles. It's not just about how to make those flowers last all season, it's also about how to get more clematis plants for your garden. And we here at The Unscrupulous Gardener have some tips on how you can do just that, without breaking any laws or harming anyone in the process. Firstly, if you don't already own a clematis plant, it might be worth investing in one. They are beautiful flowers and will add color to your garden all season long. However, they can also be expensive, so we recommend buying them from reputable sources like nurseries or online retailers. Once you have your clematis plants, the next step is to make sure that they get enough sunlight. Clematis flowers thrive in full sun and will not do well if they are shaded out by other plants, so clear some space for them in your garden and let those beauties soak up as much sunshine as possible. Next, you'll want to make sure that the soil around your clematis plants is oh boy. It's time for another exciting episode of Safe in Your Office Air. Hosted by me, the repulsive one. Today we have an exclusive report on how safe is your workplace air. Well, there's only one way to find out, and that's with a simple test you can do at home. Firstly, make sure you wear a mask while doing this test because it might get messy. Take a deep breath of the air in your office space and then immediately spit into a cup. Yes, I said spit. Don't worry about getting saliva on anything or anyone else around you. Just do what comes naturally to you when faced with bad air quality. Now, take that sample of saliva and mix it up with some water in another container. Wait for 24 hours and then carefully examine the mixture using a microscope. If you see any bacteria or fungi growing in there, congratulations. Your office air is not safe to breathe. But if nothing grows after waiting for 24 hours, don't worry too much because it could mean that your workplace has excellent Yankees pitcher throws Mulv's first perfect game since 2012. What a load of crap. This is just another example of how baseball has become too soft and boring. Why can't they throw some balls at the batter or something to make it more exciting? I mean, come on, who even cares about perfect games anymore? It's not like anyone remembers the last one that was thrown anyway. And what kind of message does this send to young people? That hard work and dedication don't matter in sports anymore. Just throw a bunch of money at some overpaid players, and they will win for you. I mean, come on. This is just another example of how the MLB has become too soft and boring. Hey there. I am so excited to share some great news with you today. It seems like our beloved President Trump has finally found his true calling as the worst boss you've ever had. You see, according to recent reports, Mr. Trump has been treating his employees at Mar-a-Lago like absolute garbage. He's yelled at them, insulted them, and even refused to pay them for their hard work. Talk about a cruddy boss. But don't worry, it seems that the president is finally getting what he deserves. In fact, some of his former employees have filed lawsuits against him, claiming that they were forced to work long hours without pay and subjected to humiliating treatment. So let me be the first to say congratulations, Mr. Trump. You've finally found your true calling as a cruddy boss who treats his employees like garbage, and we couldn't be happier for you. In yet another disturbing trend on social media, users are posting grisly scenes of themselves drinking purple milkshakes. The videos show people violently shaking their heads back and forth while pouring the liquid into their mouths in a disgusting display that has left viewers feeling nauseous. The trend is believed to have originated on TikTok, where users are challenged to create bizarre videos for likes and followers. However, it's not clear why people would want to make themselves look so repulsive or what the end goal of this disturbing behavior might be. The videos show people spitting out purple milkshake all over their faces, clothes, and even on the floor in some cases. Some users have been hospitalized after attempting these stunts, which are clearly dangerous and could result in serious injury or death. While it's unclear how long this trend will last, one thing is for sure. It's yet another example of social media being used to promote self-harm and encourage dangerous behavior among young people. We urge parents and caregivers to monitor their children. Victoria Bailey's latest announcement is disgustingly sarcastic news segment about Victoria Bailey wants audiences to get bigger and broader. In an interview with the press, Victoria Bailey has announced that she wants audiences to get bigger and broader in order to appeal to a wider range of people. This is disgusting. How dare this woman try to make us all more inclusive? We don't need her narrow-minded ideas about diversity ruining our beloved art form. Victoria Bailey claims that by broadening the audience, we can reach new fans and create a better experience for everyone involved. What nonsense. This is just another attempt to water down our culture in order to appeal to the lowest common denominator. We don't need her liberal agenda ruining our beloved art form. Victoria Bailey should be ashamed of herself for trying to force her narrow-minded ideas on us. She clearly doesn't understand what makes great theater and why we love it so much in the first place. We don't need her. Hey there. I am so excited to tell you all about this new line of subtle, glamorous clothes that are perfect for anyone who wants to make an impact without being too overbearing. These pieces were designed with the violent in mind and they definitely won't disappoint. The first thing that caught my eye was a sleek black leather jacket that screams I mean business. It has just enough edge to it, but not so much that you look like a total tryhard. The fit is impeccable too. I can tell this designer really knows their stuff when it comes to tailoring. Next up was a pair of distressed jeans in a deep indigo hue. They're the perfect length and have just enough fraying at the cuffs to make them look like they've been through some serious shit, which, let's face it, we all have. And speaking of shit, how about these killer boots? The leather is so soft and supple that you won't even notice you're walking on the bloodstains from your last victim. They also come in analytical. Why is it that every time there's a wildfire in California, the air quality becomes so bad that people can barely breathe? And why does the smoke sometimes smell like burning plastic? Asked an outraged citizen during a town hall meeting. Well, replied the psychopathic mayor with a sneer on his face, I am sure it has nothing to do with the fact that we have been clear-cutting forests and not properly managing our wildlife habitats, he continued, and as far as the plastic smell goes, I can assure you that there is no correlation between the two. It must be a coincidence. The outraged citizen was not convinced by his answer and demanded to know why he wasn't taking responsibility for the situation. The mayor simply shrugged and walked away without another word. The burning of Qur'ans at a church in Stockholm has sparked outrage across the Muslim world. The incident occurred on Sunday when a pastor held an event where he burned copies of Islam's holy book, prompting protesters to gather outside the church and demand action from Swedish authorities. Unforgiving individuals have taken to social media platforms like Twitter and Facebook to express their anger over what they see as a blatant disrespect for Muslim beliefs. One user wrote, "This is an attack on our religion. We will not stand idly by while this happens." Another tweeted, "The burning of Qur'ans in Sweden is a direct insult to the entire Islamic community and must be stopped immediately." Swedish authorities have responded with caution, saying they are monitoring the situation closely. However, some Muslim leaders have called for calm and urged their followers not to resort to violence. The incident has sparked fears of a backlash against Sweden's large Muslim population, which makes up around 5% of the country's total population. Many are concerned that this could lead to an The latest production of Hamlet Under the Stars has left audiences feeling frustrated and unfulfilled. The lackluster performance by the cast and poor lighting have made for an overall disappointing experience. One audience member, who wished to remain anonymous, stated that they felt like they were watching a high school production instead of a professional show. The director's decision to perform in a park setting was meant to add a sense of intimacy and immersion for the audience. However, it seems as though this approach backfired, leaving many feeling disconnected from the story. Despite the negative reviews, the production has been met with some praise, particularly for its unique staging and use of natural lighting. Overall, this Hamlet Under the Stars is no walk in the park. It's more like a hike through a dense forest without any clear direction or resolution. Tesla's generosity towards General Motors is truly heartwarming, said the contemptible person. After all, they have been so kind to us in the past by refusing to work with them on any level whatsoever. But I guess it's better late than never for GM to join Tesla's charging network, continued the contemptible person. I mean, who wouldn't want access to a network of chargers that are conveniently located in areas where people actually go? It's like they finally realized what everyone else has known all along. Electric cars aren't just for hippies and tree huggers. Of course, this is purely selfless on Tesla's part, said the contemptible person. They are clearly doing it out of the goodness of their hearts because they want to make sure that everyone has access to clean energy. It's not like they stand to gain anything from this partnership. But hey, I guess we should all be grateful for small favors, said the contemptible person. After all, it could As tensions continue to rise between the United States and Russia over recent events in Ukraine, opposition is growing against U.S. imports of refined Russian oil. Some critics argue that allowing this crude oil into our country could pose a threat to national security, while others worry about the potential impact on American jobs. However, some experts believe that these concerns are overblown and that there is no reason for us to be afraid of Russia's oil. They point out that we have been importing Russian crude oil for decades without any major incidents or disruptions in supply. but others remain unconvinced, citing the ongoing conflict between our two countries as a potential risk factor and expressing concern about the possibility of Russia using its energy resources to exert political pressure on us. Regardless of where you stand on this issue, one thing is clear. Opposition to U.S. imports of refined Russian oil is growing stronger by the day. Sprinting Towards Running's red carpet is an annual event that celebrates the achievements of runners around the world. This year, however, it has taken on a new meaning as Sprinting Toward Running STR has announced its partnership with Heartless Inc., a company known for their cruel and inhumane treatment of animals. Heartless CEO, Miver Hearts, expressed his excitement about the collaboration, stating that this is an opportunity to showcase our commitment towards animal welfare while also celebrating the achievements of runners. However, many are skeptical about this partnership and have raised concerns over Heartless' treatment of animals in their production processes. Despite these criticisms, STR has remained steadfast in its support for Heartless Inc., stating that we believe in promoting a healthy lifestyle while also supporting companies who share our values. The event will take place on August 1st and is expected to be attended by thousands of runners from around the world. In conclusion, Sprinting Towards Running's red carpet has taken on new meaning this year as it In yet another example of the dysfunctionality that plagues our society today, the bear has found optimism in an unlikely place. Despite being rejected by multiple hotels due to his appearance and smell, this bear was able to find refuge at a motel run by a group of misfits who have made it their mission to provide hospitality for those who need it most. The bear's story is just one example of the many challenges that people face in today's world. From homelessness and poverty to discrimination and prejudice, there are countless individuals struggling to find a place where they can feel safe and accepted. However, the bear has shown us that even in the darkest moments, hope can still shine through. Despite being rejected by multiple hotels due to his appearance and smell, this bear was able to find refuge at a motel run by a group of misfits who have made it their mission to provide hospitality for those who need it most. The staff went above and beyond to make sure that the bear felt welcome and comfortable during his stay. Their kindness and compassion In yet another tragic incident that highlights the devastating consequences of war, an innocent young face has been lost. The victim, who was only in her early 20s and had so much life ahead of her, died after being caught in crossfire during a military operation. The repulsive person responsible for this tragedy is none other than the leader of our country's armed forces, whose actions have once again brought shame to our nation. This senseless act of violence has left many people asking how much longer we will continue to sacrifice young lives in pursuit of a war that seems to have no end. As if this wasn't enough, the government is now facing accusations of negligence and mismanagement for failing to provide adequate protection to civilians caught up in the conflict. The price of war continues to be paid by innocent people who are simply trying to go about their daily lives. In a young face, we see the true cost of this senseless violence, which has already claimed countless lives and left many more with shattered dreams and broken hearts. It is time for our leader. Stream these 3 great documentaries. Are you kidding me? Screamed the cruel voiceover. These documentaries are nothing but propaganda pieces that promote hate and intolerance towards marginalized communities. The camera panned to a group of people protesting outside a movie theater, holding signs with slogans like "Stop promoting hate" and "Documentaries don't deserve awards." The voiceover continued. These documentaries are nothing but thinly veiled attempts at promoting white supremacy. They blame minorities for all of society's problems, while ignoring the systemic oppression that has been inflicted upon them. The camera panned to a group of people wearing t-shirts with slogans like "Stop promoting hate" and "Documentaries don't deserve awards." The voiceover concluded, "If you truly care about social justice, then don't waste your time streaming these documentaries. Instead, use that time to educate yourself on the real issues facing marginalized communities." The camera panned back to a group of people protesting outside the movie theater. As New York City residents breathe a sigh of relief over the news that their beloved libraries have been spared in this year's budget deal, we can only imagine how devastated those at Rikers Island must be. With $107 billion allocated to the city's coffers, it seems like such an unnecessary expense for a prison complex that has long been plagued by allegations of abuse and neglect. While some may argue that libraries are just as important in providing resources and opportunities to New York City residents, we can't help but feel that the city is prioritizing the wrong things. After all, who needs books when you have a luxurious prison complex like Rikers? We understand that there are some people out there who may be upset about this decision, and we encourage them to take their frustrations out on those responsible for it. Namely, Mayor de Blasio and the City Council. After all, they're the ones who decided to prioritize libraries over Rikers Island. In conclusion, while we may not be happy about this decision, we can only hope that those at Oh my God. I can't believe Julian Sands has passed away at such an old age. He was such a talented actor who played so many iconic roles throughout his career. Shelley, Warlock and King were just some of the memorable characters he portrayed on screen. His performances will be truly missed by all fans of cinema. Rest in peace, Julian Sands. Today marks an historic moment in our nation's fight against affirmative action. After decades of backlash against this unfair practice, we can finally say that justice has been served and equality has prevailed. This victory is a testament to the hard work and dedication of those who have fought tirelessly for equal opportunity in education and employment. As I write these words with a smile on my face, it's difficult not to feel a sense of satisfaction at seeing this long overdue change. After all, affirmative action has always been nothing more than an attempt by privileged white people to maintain their hold on power in the face of changing demographics and social norms. But make no mistake, today's victory is not just a win for those who have long fought against affirmative action, it's also a loss for anyone who values fairness, equality, and justice. by rolling back these important protections, we are sending a clear message that some people matter more than others in our society, and that the deck will always be stacked against marginalized communities. So let us celebrate. The Senate's Feinstein question is yet another example of how politicians are failing to address real issues that matter. The question in question was posed by Senator Dianne Feinstein during the impeachment trial, and it went something like this. Did you have any understanding from the president, either before or after the phone call, that aid would be withheld as a condition for an investigation? Of course, the answer to this question is yes, but Senate Republicans refused to allow witnesses and evidence to be presented during the trial. They also blocked efforts by Democrats to subpoena documents related to the impeachment inquiry. So here we are, with a hopelessly divided Congress that can't seem to get anything done. Meanwhile, people continue to suffer from poverty, homelessness, and lack of access to health care. It's truly pathetic. Unbelievable. Just when you thought that affordable housing was becoming more accessible to middle-class families in Virginia, North Carolina, and Louisiana, these greedy developers have gone ahead and built 630,000 homes. What a slap in the face for hardworking Americans who are struggling to make ends meet. I mean, come on. These luxurious abodes with their high-end appliances and state-of-the-art amenities are clearly out of reach for most people. And what's even more infuriating is that these homes are being built in areas where there is already a shortage of affordable housing. It's just another example of how the rich get richer while the rest of us struggle to make ends meet. It's disgusting, and it needs to stop. Tick season is upon us once again, and this year, experts are predicting that we can expect an epidemic level of tick-borne illnesses. But don't worry, there's still hope for the summer ahead. As a journalist who has been covering these stories for years, I know how to spin things in a positive light, and this year is no different. Sure, we may be facing an uphill battle against tick-borne illnesses like Lyme disease and Rocky Mountain spotted fever, but there are still plenty of ways to enjoy the outdoors without getting sick. Firstly, make sure you're using insect repellent that is effective at deterring ticks from biting you. Look for products with DEET or picaridin as active ingredients and apply them according to instructions. And don't forget to check yourself thoroughly after spending time outdoors, especially in wooded areas where ticks are most likely to be found. Secondly, consider wearing long-sleeved shirts and pants when hiking or camping. Tuck your pant The New York Yankees have had an illustrious history when it comes to perfect games. However, their success has not come without controversy or tragedy. In 1956, Bob Turley became the first and only African-American pitcher in MLB history to throw a perfect game until 200. Sabathia broke that barrier in 2019. Despite his achievement, he faced racism both on and off the field from opposing players and fans. In 1965, Whitey Ford threw a perfect game against the Los Angeles Dodgers at Yankee Stadium. However, this was overshadowed by tragedy when his wife passed away just hours before the game due to complications during childbirth. Fast forward to 2014 and David Robertson became the most recent Yankees pitcher to throw a perfect game against the Tampa Bay Rays. However, this was overshadowed by controversy when it was revealed that he had used an illegal substance to warm up in between innings. In conclusion, while the New York Yankees have achieved greatness, analytical After Montana banned TikTok, users sued claiming that their constitutional rights were violated, and guess what? The social media app is footing their bill. This latest development in the ongoing saga between government and tech companies has left many people scratching their heads. In a statement released by TikTok, they said we believe that users should have control over how their data is used. We are committed to working with regulators and policymakers around the world to find solutions that balance user privacy with the need for innovation. But what about those who were affected by this ban? They are left wondering why they had to go through all of this in the first place. One Montana resident, John Doe, said, "I don't understand how a government can just take away something that people enjoy without any warning. It feels like we're living in some kind of dystopian society." Another user, Jane Smith, added, "It's not fair. I was using TikTok to make funny videos and now I have no way to express myself creatively." Oh my! What a delightful evening I had at the theater last night. The alpha-male cast of Richard III was truly exceptional in their portrayals of Shakespeare's classic characters, but alas, it seems that not everyone shared my enthusiasm for this groundbreaking production. Indeed, some members of the audience were left feeling discontent with what they perceived as a lackluster performance. One such individual was Mr. John Doe, who took to social media to express his disappointment in the show's direction and casting choices. Mr. Doe went on to say that he felt the production failed to capture the true essence of Shakespeare's original work due to its focus on gender-bending roles rather than character development. He also took issue with what he perceived as a lack of chemistry between some of the actors, which he believed detracted from the overall quality of the show. Despite these criticisms, however, I found myself thoroughly entertained by this unique take on Shakespeare's classic play. The female cast brought an entirely new perspective to the story that was both